Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or a duty unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, stream it every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers.
This is from Sunnahfollowers. This is from Sheikh Saleh. We need to unite. Sisters, wear your hijab, wear your beards, be proud of your beards. Stay home, stay in your home. Stand up, unite, and stand for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's right, Saleh. We all should stand up in solidarity, not transgressing the limits of the law, but standing together with patience and understanding. This is Sunnahfollowers.
With dignity, humility, and balance.
Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Access to Layla Live Call-In and Answer Show. Please join Ustada lailanasheeba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Please join us on Saturdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, for a special presentation. We welcome Dr. Ibrahim Jamali for the Dream Interpretation, exploring the art and science of dreams. Once again, it's Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to attend, we do ask you to please join the Zoom room to detail your dreams for interpretation. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to having your dream interpreted by Dr. Ibrahim Jamali, streaming right here on Sunnahfollowers. Hey, I got a couple questions for y'all. The first one, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but if you're one of those people that have been trying to get information and you come across this, or even this. All right, take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister Lailanasheeba, the Managing Director and Founder of Sunnahfollowers Online Islamic University. As you know, we have classes every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover everything from Aqidah, which is your belief system, to Seerah, which are the stories of the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the story of the companions. Please join us every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are broadcasting and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, DLive, Trovo, and Twitch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. Sunnahfollowers, in association with Aris Institute, presents to you an intensive foundation in Islamic studies. We welcome Dr. Ali Shihada, who will be teaching the science of the Quran and the Hadith every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, streaming right here on Sunnahfollowers. You will make it through. The Fitrah is the way. you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The Fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our, I know I messed up the stream thing. Hold on, let me reset it. Welcome to our Aqidah class. And this is the class that I remind everyone every day that is the most important class of all the classes that we're teaching here. Why? Because it's all about your belief system. If our belief system is not correct, then absolutely none of our good deeds will be accepted by Allah. You know, that's like I explained to the new converts here. That's why there will be no Christians and no Jews and no Buddhists or any other religion in paradise. That's why Allah says that the only way that He accepts is the way of Islam. Because again, those other beliefs, their beliefs are off. They claim that they believe in Allah, but they really don't. They worship partners alongside with Him. Or they perform good deeds, but they don't do them the way Allah legislated. And again, that's important. A lot of people ask Sister Layla, how do I know if Allah is accepting my prayers, my fast, and all of that? Well, you know, 2 conditions. And that's what we've been speaking about for the past 2 weeks. In order for our good deeds to be accepted, 2 conditions must exist. Number 1, the intention must be solely for Allah. You're doing that deed only to please Him, not any other creature or any other creation. Everybody understand that? And number 2, whatever the deed is, it must be performed the way Allah commanded us to perform it. That means if you're going to pray your prayers, you have to pray the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to pray. If you're fasting, you have to adhere to the guidelines, the rules that Allah put in effect. When dressing, when going out the house as Muslim women, we have to make sure. How many of you women are wearing your khimars? Draw your hijabs over your bosom. They're supposed to be like I wear mine, hanging over to hide my chest, my bosom. Do you guys understand that? And an abaya, whereas no one can see this, your curves and the color of your, your skin except for this. Well, according to Aisha and Ibn Abbas, they said this is what naturally appears thereof. If I'm going to go grocery shopping and I reach up to grab a box, Aisha, Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Umar, may Allah bless them both, bless them all, said this is what naturally appears thereof. This part of my arm shows naturally. I can't help it. That's naturally thereof. If I'm going to read, okay, that's what, or for example, we're women. Okay, we got our veils over our bosom, but hey, some of us got back. Some of us got back. So if you're walking and the wind blows, blow your abaya close and people can see that you got back. Okay, that's naturally thereof. You can't change that. As you sisters understand, I can't change the fact that I got a back. You know, I'm paid. We don't have to have surgery. Sorry, Nikki. Sorry, Cardi B. Sorry, Beyonce. We Muslim women don't have to have surgery to have back. We got it naturally. Hello. So that's naturally thereof. You can't hide that. Okay, so make sure, like again, if you want Allah to accept the deed of obeying Him and how you dress, it has to be for His sake alone and the way He legislated. Turbans, I tell you new converts all the time, it's haram for Muslim women to wear turbans. Where's my dalil? Where's my dalil? Where's my dalil? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said Allah has cursed the women who imitate men in their dress. And Allah has cursed the men who imitate women in their dress. That's a Jami hadith. Okay, that's a Jami hadith. That hadith is authentic. Okay? Turbans are reserved for men, just as hijabs are reserved for women. Just like a woman can't wear a turban because that's a dress reserved for men. Men can't wear hijabs, although we're in the days of fitan. We're living in the days in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of, the days in which men and women will imitate each other. Homosexuality will increase. Drugs will increase. Alcohol, sex out of wedlock, lying will increase. We're living in those days. So there are a bunch of men that you look at on the internet who got on hijabs. I don't know why these brothers are wearing hijabs. It ain't part of their cultural dress. It's not a gutra. That ain't how they dress in Somali. I'm just going to call my Somali brothers out. That's not the Somali cultural dress. I don't know why you brothers are wearing hijabs. Y'all need to stop wearing hijabs. You trying to look like pious or something? I understand piety. Piety is in the heart. Just because a woman covers her face and wears gloves doesn't make her pious. So what are you brothers doing with these hijabs on? I don't understand it. You look gay-bladed. This is haram. That's hijabs are for women. Subhanallah. Piety is in the heart. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said we can't go around referring to each other as being pious. I can't say that I'm a pious person. I can't say that that brother there is pious, that sister is pious. Only Allah knows who's pious. So if that's why you brothers are wearing hijabs now, I don't get it. You look weird. You look gay. It's just not right. You look about as bad as a woman looks with a turban on. And we got a lot of these Muslim women that are wearing these turbans looking like dudes. I don't get it. But these are the days of fitan. These are the days in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of. Subhanallah. So, alhamdulillah, guys, this class is so important because this is the class to keep you balanced in your aqidah, in your belief system. This is the class that serves as a reminder to you as to what we believe as Muslims, what it means when you profess to la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the class we need for that. And we have been studying from the book entitled Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Volume 2. We started off with this collection with Get to Know Your Lord. That was what, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we started this journey with the book written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid entitled Get to Know Your Lord. That was 3 years ago. It took us a year to cover that book. It broke down what it means to believe in Allah. We talked about what it means to believe in Allah's books, his angels, his prophets, and all of that. We talked about Allah's names, Allah's attributes, and all of that. And then we continued the journey of getting to know our Lord with the volume 1 of Diluting Wala Wal Bara. That was 2 years ago. And we completed it this year. We just completed it, in fact, a couple of months ago. It took us a year. And that was the beginning. It talked about the second part of the Shahada, which is allegiance. How as Muslims, our allegiance is supposed to be to Allah, to his prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the other Muslims in this religion. Our allegiance is not to anyone else. This is why we don't become friends with non-Muslims. Allah tells us they will never accept us. This is why you don't vote in no elections. I don't understand why Muslims in America don't ever listen. That's why you shouldn't have voted for Obama. Look what Obama did. You voted to make homosexuality legal. You're going to answer to Allah for that. Okay, you voted to send bombs. Where did the weapons come from? The weapons that they're using to kill the Muslims, which came from Obama. He started this war. He started this genocide. And y'all were so stupid, you gave him what he needed. This is why Allah tells us, that we do not, Allah says a non-Muslim could never be a leader or ruler or guardian over us, because they will never have our interests, our best interests in mind or heart. They will never accept us. They will always dislike us. That's why our allegiance, wala wal bara, is to Allah and the Muslims, not to no non-Muslims. We deal with them from a distance. We don't vote for them. We don't support them in those type of ways. We'll help them if they need help in that which is good, and they can help us in that which is good. But we take no parts. We do better. We distance ourselves from their ideology and their beliefs and their lifestyle that opposes ours. That was Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Volume 1. And so now we have continued our beautiful journey to try to find our way back to Allah, to reignite that connection with him, with Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Volume 2. And I really love this book, because this tells us how to take what we learned in Volume 1 and apply it in a non-faith-centered world. How to be Muslim, in other words, and practice our deen correctly in a world that doesn't believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's basically what this Volume 2 is about. How to hold on to the principles of Islam, how to hold on to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and how to live La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah in an environment, in a society, in a world that doesn't believe in that. That's what we've been speaking about. We've talked about the Fitrah, how every human being was created with the Fitrah. The Fitrah recognizes La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. The Fitrah knows its purpose, knows that it was put here on this earth to prove its belief. The Fitrah knows that the road to paradise is not easy. The road to paradise is paved with thorns. The Fitrah is engaged in a constant battle against the human soul, the soul which is criminal by nature and curious and attracted to everything that's bad for it, everything that's destructive to it. So we've been speaking about how to help our Fitrah to find its way back to Allah. We've spoken about the human heart, because that's where the Fitrah is attached. The human heart experiences emotions that, if not balanced, can stand in the way of the journey of the heart back to Allah. We have to learn to balance our love. As women, that's hard, because we women, we tend to love deeper than men do. It's easy for a woman to worship something other than Allah. Women are more prone to worship something other than Allah than men are. That's another reason why there'll be more women in hell than men. A woman is more prone to end up worshiping her husband. And we talked about that. We've even had Sheikh Morsi for the Islam Q&A show. My Q&A show talk about it. That video of his has gone viral. Okay, when he talked about pleasing. It's not about pleasing your husband. It's about pleasing Allah. Any deeds not done to please Allah are not accepted. So we women fall victim to worshiping something other than Allah more than men do. So we have to learn to balance our love, balance our emotions, balance our hate too, because we suffer with jealousy. I'm a jealous woman too. Oh, I'm not going to deny it. It's another reason why I'm single. I'm too jealous. First of all, I'm not going to marry no man unless he got 2, 3, or 4, because I'm a woman of the dowry. I can't be married to no one dude. I mean, be the one wife to a one wife to a dude, because I got to do my mission. I'm on a mission here. I ain't got time for all that. But I'm still jealous. You know, I'm jealous. What woman isn't? Any woman that tell you she's not jealous is not real. Because that's how Allah made us. The prophets' wives were jealous. We've talked in detail about them. They used to fight. They had fist fights. Okay? But we got to learn to balance it. It can be learned. We can train ourselves to balance that jealousy. Balance our anger. And then when we get control, when you find yourself in control, this is how life is always a struggle. When we find ourselves as Muslim women, we got our jealousy in control. We got our love in control. Everything's balanced. What do we suffer with? Loneliness. Here comes loneliness. Here comes that barrier of the heart known as loneliness. Maybe he's spending more time with the other wives than with me. Maybe he really don't care about me. Maybe because he ain't texting me like he normally does. Maybe I pushed him too far out the door with my dawah that he don't want to be bothered. I mean, that's what Shaitan does. That loneliness. Your personal jinn wants you to think, oh, he doesn't care. You know, that's why the prophet said we are never grateful. Women are ungrateful. It's our nature. And then when you tell your husband, why you ain't text me? Why you ain't called me? Why ain't I heard from you? He'll say, baby, didn't you tell me that you got your dawah to do? Didn't you tell me don't bother you, let you have your days away to yourself? I'm just doing what you said do, but you ain't happy with that. Y'all see that? That's just how we are. That's the nature of a woman. We can be very ungrateful. So that loneliness can turn into ingratitude and gratitude towards Allah. And we have to end up trying to balance that. And if we don't balance that loneliness, it can turn into anxiety. You become anxious and worried and and all of that. Despair, depression. And once we reach depression, that's when our shaitan has us. Because it's hard to come back from depression. You don't want to reach the level of depression. That's one emotion that the prophet told us to try to avoid. Recognize the signs, recognize the symptoms, and try to avoid falling into depression, because it's hard to come back. Depression is when your jinn got you. He got you now. I was watching on television last night, and I'm going to, I just retired a couple of years ago from my job. I worked in the mental health field for 36 years. I worked with the developmentally disabled. I've worked with jinn possession for the past 36 years. My clients were possessed by jinns. So I've worked with that and dealt with that. And I saw a movie last night. I was watching. It just came up on Prime. It was called The Walls That Talk or something. Words on the Wall. Oh my God. That movie was so real. It was about schizophrenia. A young boy who suffered with schizophrenia, and they said it's based on a true story. He wrote about it, and it shows how it starts off with him seeing things. He started seeing things, and he told his parents, I see things. He would see black smoke. It was always something black, like ink or smoke. He'd go to school, and in his chemistry class, the water would turn black, and nobody else would see it but him. That was his jinn. They had his eyes tested and said, oh, nothing wrong with your eyes. They thought maybe he had glaucoma. Nope. Then after seeing things, it started turning into hearing voices. He would hear someone talking to him, and the voice was always like a monster. And we know it's the jinn voice. Your subconscious. That's your subconscious. People with schizophrenia, they are a little different. Their jinn knows how to play them if they don't have medication. Their jinn will take over. And so his subconscious, his jinn would be whispering to him telling him that things were happening that weren't really happening. And he believed it. That movie was so good because it's what I've dealt with for 36 years with my clients. Eventually, they got him on medicine. Because what happened is people started appearing. He had 3 people. He had one man who was a guardian to protect him. A girl who was nice, who advised him. A gay blade that talked to him about the sensual side. Those were 4 invisible people that were always around him. Okay? And then finally, when they diagnosed him with schizophrenia and put him on the medicine, a lot of medicines don't work. That's a trial. They finally found one that did work, and he said it was like a new world. The voices stopped. He stopped seeing things, imagining things. The 4 people that were always with him went away, and he was normal for a while, for about a year. But that's what happens. You become chemically imbalanced. Your body gets used to it. Side effects. And he was back, flipped out again. It's really amazing, what the people who suffer with schizophrenia have to deal with. I've worked with that population, as well as working with the developmentally disabled, and it's sad. It's really sad. But our jinn, when you watch that movie, I encourage everyone to watch it. Words on the Wall. It's free. It's on Prime. It shows how your jinn actually whispers to you, because his jinn was whispering to him to believe things that weren't true. His jinn whispered to him to see things that aren't there, to feel things that are not real. That's how our jinn is if we don't tame it. If we don't tame it. If we don't tame it down. And the reason why that boy struggled is because of no belief in Allah, guys. That's what the la ilaha illallah is for. How do we tame our jinn? How do we tame it down and not fall victim to the whispers of the heart? La ilaha illallah, remembrance of Allah. That's why for those of you who do suffer with schizophrenia, I tell you all the time, you have to cling to my website. Take your medicine. You can never go without your medicine, ever. Because soon as you go without it, you're going to flip out again, because this is a sickness. But your medicine, in addition to my classes, will help you to tame your schizophrenia, to tame your jinn, to keep your jinn at bay, because your jinn probably hates me. Okay? Because your jinn done talked to mine. My jinn done told her she don't play. She'll take you down and put you in a basket hole. That's probably what my jinn done told your jinn. She gonna put you in a basket hole, man, and she gonna recite some Quran, and she don't play. because the jinns communicate with each other. And that's a different topic. We'll talk about that more when I do my series on the jinn. But anyway, guys, so we have to keep our jinn at bay because he never sleeps. Even for those of us who don't have schizophrenia, he still whispers to us too. He tries to get us to react too. We just don't fall for it as easily as the schizophrenia people do. Okay? So it's all about taming the heart, taming the soul, taming the jinn, trying to keep that fitrah ignited to help it find its way back to Allah. So the emotions of the heart, they serve as a barrier between you and Allah, you and your relationship with him. So we have to train those emotions. Just like in that movie, that boy had to learn how to train, curtail his anger, contain his loneliness, because the jinn tried to get him to kill himself. That's what they want. The ultimate goal of the jinn that's within us is to get us to die upon a sin of disbelief. Suicide is a sin of disbelief. Ain't no coming back from that. Okay, so we all have to avoid that depression, because that's once your jinn gets you to that state, that's when those thoughts come. So emotions, the emotions of the heart must be balanced. And today what we're going to do, we spoke about also shirk, and we spoke about innovation, the dangers of those two things. Your jinn is going to try to get you to associate partners with Allah or disbelieve in his laws, his rules. Your personal jinn will make the evil appear to be good. He wants you to do something like celebrate birthdays and stuff like that, you know, thinking that it's a good thing when it's not. Well, today we're going to speak about other barriers, two other barriers of the heart. We're going to speak about external sins. We talked about the internal sins, such as loneliness, anger, anxiety, depression. Well, today we're going to speak about outward sins and how they affect the fitrah of the heart. So let me put the PowerPoint up. And I want everybody to turn to page 112. Because today we'll be doing 112 and 100 through 114. Let me set this up for you, everybody, too. So take out your books. Hold on. Make this big screen. Okay. Okay, hold on. I know the screen's black. Give me a second to switch it. And okay, go back to this. Let me make this large. Everybody, yeah, I'm on. Yeah, it's Instagram too. Yeah, the sister's asking me, am I on Instagram? Yeah, you like Instagram? Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. It's on Instagram. I'm on Instagram too, so you can. And I'm on Mixcloud, and Trovo, and DLive, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really good too, sister. That's where all my Arabic people are. They watch me from LinkedIn, Dr. Asim's peoples. Yeah, LinkedIn too. She's wanting to know the other platforms on in case she say her Facebook goes out. You're on Facebook? What's wrong with your Facebook? Okay, well, yeah, I'm on all. I'm even on Twitch. So if any of them. Okay, you got the. Okay, she says she got the LinkedIn. Okay, all right. Okay, let me make this big screen now so everybody can see. Yeah, you don't want to miss this. Okay. Today we're going to be covering pages 112 through 114 of the book Diluting Wala Wal Bara, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. There's him. I use his picture so y'all know who he is. And there's yours truly. You need to know who I am because I'm your teacher. Hello. Know who you take your knowledge from nowadays. Too many ruwaybida. Okay, today we're going to speak about external sins, how external sins serve as a barrier to the Fitrah of the heart. And we're going to also speak about culture and traditions, because a lot of people do bad deeds and stuff because of habit. We're going to talk about the dangers of habit and all of that. Okay, so turn to page 112. And I want you guys to take screenshots. Take a screenshot of this. So at the end of the class, you can print everything out from your phone and staple the pages together and attach it to pages 112 of the book. All right, you got the screenshots? Okay. So let's first talk about the barrier of internal sins. Now, we've discussed before how arrogance, envy, hypocrisy, these are all emotions of the heart, which will turn into sins if we don't balance them out. And we talked about how these sins of the heart are worse than outward sins, because if you don't purify your heart of these type of sins, they'll sit in there and fester, and they'll turn into worse sins. And then they'll cause you to do actions that you will end up regretting in the long run. And these type of sins become significant barriers on the path to Allah. And the only way that we can achieve true spiritual progress is by removing these sins, by balancing these sins out in our heart. Okay, not allowing arrogance to get the better of you. You should be able to recognize when you're becoming arrogant, recognize when you're jealous of someone, recognize the hypocrisy in your heart, and then take the steps to get rid of it. Make dua, number one, asking Allah to remove those evil emotions. And number two, pretend that you don't have those evil emotions anymore. The Prophet Muhammad said to pretend. If you are a person that's jealous of others, pretend that you're not jealous of others. After pretending for so long, it'll become a habit. So we do the things that we should do, make dua against these sins, ask Allah to remove them. Also pretend we don't have these sins, because unless we do that, we'll never excel in our journey towards Allah. Also, guys, by distancing ourselves from these type of inward sins, you will find yourself a happier person too. And by seeking repentance, calling upon Allah, asking Allah to purify your heart from these sins, you will feel even more happier, because you will feel a light within you. Allah loves for us to recognize that we need help. He loves for us to call upon Him, asking for His help. And you can tell when He responds, because you feel like a weight has been lifted from your heart. You will feel a lightness in there. There was one person that I used to be envious of. That person was my younger sister. That's the only other female that I've ever was jealous of. My younger sister. And I think the only reason I was jealous of her is because, number one, she's the only woman that looks like me. So that means she's pretty. My younger sister is pretty. Okay? And also, I was she was smart like me. So I was jealous of her, and I became jealous of her when she got married. She married a prince man, and he was a good Muslim. And she's still with him, and they got beautiful children. Something that I always wanted. I always wanted to have the perfect husband and the children and all of that. But it just wasn't meant for me. How did I get over that jealousy for my sister? Every time that jealousy would creep into my heart, I'd say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. That's my sister. And then I make myself be happy for her. I made myself be happy that she found a prince to marry and she lives in a real castle and stuff. I made myself happy every time she got pregnant and all her kids look like me. That helped too. All her girls look like me, red hair and all. I said, oh, subhanAllah, so, jealousy, that can be very destructive for us as women. And then I started thinking of the fact that, hey, if anybody should be better than me, it should be her, because I was always her role model. My younger sister always looked up to me. She always admired me. She always wanted to be me. So I started looking at that. Well, if she should be better than me. She should have more than me because she deserves it, because she's a good little sister. She was always the good little sister. She approved of everything I did. She used to try to imitate me, and she knew that I was bad, meaning, tough. Everybody knew, don't mess with my little sister, because if they mess with my little sister, they had to pay the wrath of Salama lailanasheeba, who could wield a sword and roundhouse kick. So that's how I got over that jealousy for her. And I love her so much now, subhanAllah, because she is like me. Okay, subhanAllah. So again, it's essential for us to recognize when we're faced with one of these inward sins and then take the steps to purify our hearts of it. Because if it doesn't, it can become detrimental. If I hadn't removed that jealousy from my sister, it would have turned into hate. It would have turned into harm and all of that. It could have destroyed the tie of kinship and everything else. Subhanallah. So we have to take the steps to recognize when we're going through any of these sins and then go through the process of curing it. And then we have external sins. External sins, these are the sins that we do outwardly, such as drinking, lying, stealing, cheating. Outward sins that others can see, that others can know of. These stand between our journey to Allah too. But I want you guys to understand that no sin remains minor if a person is deliberately, intentionally doing it. I want y'all to screenshot this page, and I'm going to try to break this down. A lot of Muslims don't understand the difference between a major sin and a minor sin. We have the wonderful hadith. What's the source? What's the source? What's the source? Sahih Bukhari. One of the Bedouins converted to Islam. And after he took his shahada, he went back to his village, and the woman that he'd been having sex with approached him, and they kissed. They were standing outside kissing, hugging, doing everything except actual relations. Another Muslim walked past and said, hey, didn't you take shahada? He said, yeah. He said, don't you know it's haram to touch your woman who is not your wife? The man said no. So he ran to the prophet. He said, oh prophet, I'm doomed. The prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what's wrong? He said, I took shahada a week ago. I did not know that it's haram, to be with a woman that you're not married to. So I did everything with her. I kissed her, touched her, felt her, did everything except penetrate her. The prophet said, when did you do this? He said, today. The prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, didn't you pray Dhuhr prayer with us at the mosque? He said, yes. Didn't you pray Asr prayer with us? Yes. He said, don't you know that Allah forgives you for the minor sins that you commit? Every time you make wudu, when you wash your hands, you're forgiven of the minor sins that you commit with your hands. When you rinse your face and wash your face, and so on and so on. The prophet said we're also forgiven for the minor sins we commit from Dhuhr to Asr. And we're forgiven for the minor sins we commit from Asr to Maghrib, and so on and so on. And so the man said, is this just for me or for everyone? The prophet said, for everyone. Now, this man was kissing, touching, smooching, doing everything. But it was a minor sin for him. Why? Because he did not know it was haram. So that's the difference. The difference between a minor sin and a major sin is this. Anyone who deliberately, intentionally disobeys Allah, that's a person who has committed a major sin. You know it's haram to kiss a person that's not your mahram. So that's a major sin. But for the person that didn't know, it's a mistake because they didn't know. So it's a minor sin. Does everybody understand that? So that's why that hadith does not contradict how fornication is one of the 10 commandments. If you know that fornication is one of the 10 commandments, but you fornicate anyway, then you've committed a major sin. But for those who don't know, it's a mistake for them, as long as they repent and be determined to not do it again. Does everybody understand? So that's the difference between a major and minor sin. For those of us who deliberately, intentionally commit sins, and we commit them over and over and over again, we fall quickly into what could be a category of disbelief. That's the other hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a man who dies an alcoholic will be raised up as a kafir. What does that mean? Because this is a man that knew that alcohol was haram, but he continued to drink it, not caring about the consequences. He took that alcohol as his God over Allah, even knowing that it's haram, but choosing to drink it means he made that alcohol his God. So now he's died a drunk. He will be in hell forever. Y'all understand now? That's what that hadith means. So we have to be careful of the outward sins, guys. The external sins we commit, we need to try to repent from them, because so many of us can be raised up like the alcoholic, like the drug addict. A kafir, that means damned to the hellfire forever, because we took our love for alcohol and drugs over our love for Allah. Again, the sins of disbelief. I'm going to teach y'all about them during Ramadan. Okay? So the insistence on disobedience and the unwavering determination to continue sinning, this is what serves as a spiritual barrier between you and Allah. That's why I tell you, young brothers, y'all got to let that marijuana go. It's haram. Stop coming up with excuses to smoke weed. It's haram, brothers. I tell you, cigarette smokers, y'all got to stop smoking them cigarettes. It's haram. Nicotine is a drug. It's haram. You got to stop it. Otherwise, you're going to be raised up a kafir. Does everybody understand? And we have to be careful when we put ourselves in positions of leadership and we're people who outwardly sin. Okay? For example, people who dress immodestly or indulge in inappropriate behavior, but you're in a position of leadership. If you're in a position of being a role model, you're in a position of influencing others, they're going to imitate you. That's why I tell the people in my Zoom room, I am a dyer. I have to remind Amina Fresno, I have to remind all my regular people here, I'm not like you. I am a dyer. I am a dyer. I am a dyer. I have to do things differently than you. You can get rough and tough. You can do that and tune people out. I can't, because I am in a role model position. I am in a position of influence, an influential position. So I have to handle things differently than you. I can't let a person come into my Zoom room and tell you that it's okay to have sex out of wedlock. Because somebody might believe that. I can't just walk away. I got to correct it. I got to let it be known that this person's a liar. I got to be careful how I explain stuff to you guys. Okay? I have to be careful in how I talk to people too. The way I speak to you guys is not the same way I'm going to speak to one of these troublemakers that come in here. I got to be rough and I got to be tough with the troublemaker. But I'm not going to be that way with you. I got to know each and every one of my students too, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and how to push them and when to not push them. So we got to be careful of leadership positions. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions, be careful of people who ask for leadership positions. Because there are certain criteria you have to follow in those positions. And if the person doesn't meet the criteria, it can end up causing harm. Okay? And you have to check yourself in those positions. Make sure that you are not outwardly sinning. We have another hadith where the Prophet said, whoever calls to misguidance will have the sin upon him similar to those who follow him. So, for example, if I'm a dyer, I am a dyer. I have to make sure that the information I present to you guys is authentic. That's why I told you guys, when I'm doing my lectures, I mainly stick with Bukhari and Muslim hadiths, like this one. This is a Muslim hadith. Because that way it's hard for anybody to come and try to refute me. And that's why I tell you guys to stick with it too. 80% of the knowledge of Islam is in Bukhari alone. Okay? And we have to be careful putting ourselves in dire positions. You have to dress a certain way. How can I sit here and call you to Allah if I'm sitting here with a turban on, with a hat on my head? Although it's not haram to wear a hat, but is that the appropriate dress for a daya? No. That's why I sit here in my abayas and my kimars. I have to set an example, and that's why I look beautiful. I take the time, guys, to make myself look nice, because I don't want Muslim women to think that because they're Muslim women, they have to be ugly, because nowhere did Allah say that. And not any of those heroines of Islam were ugly. Their beauty is still talked about to this day. So I have to make sure that I look nice in front of this camera. I have to make sure that my voice is loud. I speak loudly. Yeah, I'm Egyptian. Egyptians are loud. But I also overdo it too, because Allah commands me to. I have to make sure that the men that may be listening are listening to my words, that my words will distract them from my face. Distract them from my face. Okay? So the responsibility of people in influential positions, they have to be careful because their actions can either pave the way for righteousness or become a barrier that will lead others away from Allah. And we're living in that day, the days of the Ruwaybidah that the Prophet warned about. The Prophet ﷺ said there'll be many people calling you to Allah, but they'll be all mostly calling you to Shaitan, because they won't have the knowledge or the understanding of even the basics of Islam. There's a lot of Ruwaybidah on YouTube, Ruwaybidah on social media, calling you away from Sirat al-Mustaqim. So it's crucial for us to be mindful of our conduct and strive to set positive examples that will strengthen the connection between the people and their Lord. I make sure I look nice. And all I'm wearing are pajamas, to be honest, guys. They little house clothes. But I want to look nice because I want to set a positive example for the Muslim women around the world, because the Muslim women have been beaten up. The Muslim women, especially in the West, not in the Arabic world, because those women know what's up. But the Muslim women in the West have been beaten down, broken, told that they have to be ugly, that they can't wear colors, that they can't show their face, that they can't talk, that they're less than a man, that they have to stay in the doors, that the women were never important. So I have to disprove all that. I have to bring you back to Islam in its truthfulness with the understanding of those companions, and show you. That's why I teach about the heroines of Islam, that none of those female companions were broken, were beaten down, were invisible, locked in a house, or any of that. This is the only way the people in leadership positions can remove the barrier of external sins and help guide others in their spiritual growth towards Allah. Okay? And finally, for today, I want to speak about habits. Habits. A lot of people out there discover that their habits and routines have the effect of imprisoning them. And when you ask them about their habits, some might admit that the activities they do are pointless or dangerous, but many of them won't. For example, a person may continue to smoke cigarettes, even though they know it's haram, but they do it because of the way it makes them feel. Again, nicotine is a drug. You want that high you get after eating, that high you get after relations, that high you experience when you're angry. So we got to break the people out of those bad habits. There's a lot of things available today to stop you from smoking if a person is sincere in wanting to stop. Holding on to bad habits will block your journey towards Allah, because holding on to bad habits will take you away from Him, and you will end up falling into the sin of association, making that cigarette your God. You rather please and give in to your desire to get high than to Allah. So we have to be careful of bad habits. We have to remember what I've been talking about for the past 2 weeks about pleasing Allah. It's all about pleasing Allah. One of the early scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah, he too underlined that for a person's submission to Allah to be considered genuine, whatever we do has to be aimed solely towards Him. Again, good deeds. Why do you give dawah, Layla? Why do you dress the way you dress? Why do you speak the way you speak? Why do you live the way you live? Not to make my mom happy, not to make my children happy. I do it for Allah. I want to please my Lord. If it's not done for him, it's not accepted. And to attain the pleasure of Allah, we have to abandon any routines or any behaviors that stand in the way of our spiritual development. Does everybody understand that? If you find that you're a person that's pleasing other than Allah, you got to stop it. You got to make your intention sincerely for him. You got to make yourself do it for him and no one else. Does everybody understand? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is give you a quick quiz to see how well you guys understood today's lecture. First question. What is the difference between a major sin and a minor sin?
A major sin is when you know it's wrong, but you do it anyways. And a minor sin is something that you didn't know, so it was a mistake.
You guys agree with her answer?
Yes.
Yes.
MashaAllah, that's the difference. The difference between a major sin is when you deliberately, intentionally, knowingly disobey Allah and continue in it. Whereas a minor sin are the things that we didn't know were haram. And we repent from them. Okay, good job. What about this? Which one of these people is committing a major sin? Abdul smokes weed, but he didn't know it was haram. When he was told that it was haram, he stopped. Malik smokes weed. Malik smokes weed, and he knows it's haram, but still does it. So who's committing the major sin?
Malik. Malik.
Exactly. Malik, guys. Y'all got to stop. Stop. When you hear that something is haram, you got to stop it. If you don't stop what you think is haram, you're committing a real major sin. Even something as simple as shaking hands. You're shaking hands. You know that it's haram. You got to stop it because it may be a minor sin to to a person that doesn't know, but it's a major sin for you because you know it's haram. What about this? Amatullah, she wants to be a caller to Islam. She has not studied Islam intensely from anyone of knowledge, but she is educated secularly. And she feels that she can explain things well just from the teachings that she's done on her own. A friend of her warns her that she should not do this because she's putting herself in a leadership position that can lead to troubles. What type of troubles, if any, could this lead to?
Whoever's following her, she could be giving them the wrong information and they can be in trouble with the law. And she's definitely going to be in trouble with the law because she's talking without knowledge, real knowledge from true people of knowledge.
And what's the danger of giving people the wrong information? What's the hadith? What's the danger of that? If we think about the consequence, boy, we'll think twice. What's the danger of it?
You taught us that it's Allah says that one of the sins that he hates the most is when people speak about him or his religion without knowledge.
That's not the danger though. What is the danger of giving Muslims false information that they accept and follow?
They believe it.
What's the dangers of the people believing any false information that you tell them to do?
You bear the sin of any person who follows what you say.
That's it. That's the consequence. If we think about the consequences, that means you get the sin of every person that believes you and is doing the sin. So if I tell you to twirl around in a circle and you believe me, All the people that's twirling around in a circle because they heard that Layla said twirl around, I'm not only going to have to answer to Allah for telling you, but I'm getting all of y'all sins too. Y'all see that? That's scary. And most Daya need to think about that. That's extremely scary. If you got 1 million people in the world who twirl around in circles because they were told by somebody that Layla said that this is what we do, look at all those sins. That's 1 million sins right there, in addition to the sins Allah gave me for lying or misgiving wrong information. Good job. What's another trouble? What other troubles could this lead to?
Is it innovation? Because they might introduce something into the religion.
It could be. If you don't know what you're talking about exactly, you could be calling people to innovation. And that's another horrific sin. You could be introducing something new into this deen. So this is why we have to be careful, guys, about teaching people this religion. That's why I tell you, sisters, be careful with those little study groups y'all have at the mosque. You want a sister to stop coming to my class, but you want her to come read with a study group where the people that y'all are reading hadiths and nobody understands the meaning of them. Nobody knows what they're talking about. You could be giving your opinion and they give theirs. You don't pull a woman away from the people of knowledge who's teaching her the correct way to come sit with you in a gathering where y'all speak from your opinion. We got to be careful of that, guys. This is a big problem today. A lot of my students tell me how sisters want them to stop coming to my class and come sit with them and drink tea and have henna parties, and they discuss their views on a hadith. Astaghfirullah. What about this one? In order for our good deeds to be accepted by Allah, what are the conditions? What are the conditions of acceptance of our good deeds?
It has to be done the way Allah legislated. So, for example, if you're performing the prayer, you'd have to do it the way the Prophet taught us. And it has to be done solely for him too, not him and someone else.
What do you guys think about her answer?
I agree. You have to make sure you're on the correct belief system.
Okay, exactly.
And
good job. Exactly. In order for your good deeds to be done, they have to, number one, be done for the simple pleasure of pleasing Allah. And number two, they have to be done the way Allah legislated. Good job. Those are the conditions. And those questions there basically summarize what we discussed today. So are there any questions? Any questions or comments? Let me look on YouTube. Hold on. I'm coming in now, guys. I want to see what your answers were on YouTube. Hold on. Good job. Let me look at the top here. A major sin is something you know is haram. MashaAllah. Good job, Howard. MashaAllah. Good job, Sakina. Malik, who knows it's haram. Good job. Good job, Facebook. Israel said you bear 100% of every person. Good job, Israel. You're getting 100% of every person that's doing what you told them to do, and it was wrong. You're getting their sin. That's a scary thing. That's why I tell you guys, you got to be careful sitting up on YouTube. YouTube has become the way to make money, fast money. All you got to do is make a channel and call yourself talking about Islam. And now you getting ready to get millions. Get 1 million subscribers and you getting ready to get rich. The people that don't have the knowledge, they're the ones that succeed in that. Those of us who do have the knowledge, we don't have that many. People are attracted to that which is not truthful. They're attracted to that which is not accurate. They're attracted to that which is not good. So we don't make the money, but those other innovators and deviators and other people, they getting rich off of y'all on YouTube. It's ridiculous. And they're going to bear the sin of it on the day of judgment. Let's see what else we got here. Good job. She may be teaching inaccurate information. We have to do it solely for Allah and make sure it's done the way he legislated. Good job, Facebook. Good job, Howard. Good job, Fatima. Good job. Musima said, be careful who you listen to. Oh, yeah, exactly. Because I'm going to tell y'all, these people will take y'all away from Allah. Some of the things I hear these brothers and sisters say on the internet, I'm just like, whoa. And the people are listening to that? The people believe that? The people are following that? So we have to be careful. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. MashaAllah, this was a good class. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I want to remind everybody, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Ask Sister Layla live show. That's tonight, y'all. I just thought about it today. I woke up, I said, oh my God, this is the Ask Sister Layla Live. The Ask Sister Layla Live show. Any questions that you guys have, please bring them in. And by the way, what about the other sisters? Do y'all got questions for me tonight? I hope y'all do, because y'all know those polygamy sisters. They'll sit here with these marriage questions. You know, so please, guys, bring your questions in, and inshallah, I'll answer your questions for you. I'll give you the dalil like I always do. So please come in for that. And also, let me remind everybody about tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have Dr. Ali. He's doing his intensive course. His intensive course on Quran and Hadith, the science of Quran and Hadith. That's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want the Sunnah follower kids to participate in that class too. I will be streaming it on all social platforms. Also tomorrow, we have Dr. Ibrahim Dramali with his dream interpretation. Y'all remember that? That's every Saturday. If you have a dream that you would like Dr. Dramali to interpret for you, make sure you come in here with it tomorrow. Join the Zoom room so you can use the mic and give him more details, okay? So he can interpret give you the meaning of your dreams, inshallah. He can try to interpret it as accurately as he can. He says he does a better job with the if you guys get on the mic so he can ask you questions that you might leave out. So dream interpretation, that's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, you got some dreams? Oh yeah, bring them in. Yeah, anybody, the kids too. Exactly. The brother here is asking me, can the kids? Yeah, you got a dream you want Dr. Dramali to interpret? Tomorrow at 9 p.m. It is at 9, right, guys? Do I have the time right?
Yes.
Okay, good. At 9 o'clock tomorrow. Yes, well, I hope you guys have some dreams for Dr. Dramali. Also, just another announcement. Dr. Ali, Ramadan, from Dr. Ali in association with some masajids out in Las Vegas. We're going to do a 90-minute special about how to not despair, to try to put you in the mood for fasting. That's going to be March 8th. Dr. Ali Shahada of our website. It's going to be a special stream. We're going to put a lot into it. There's going to be other massages involved too, to try to help get you in the mood for fasting. And also on March 9th, Dr. Ali is going to do a special lecture on those of you who suffer with mental illness. Because if you suffer with mental illness and you are on medication, you should not, I repeat, you should not fast. You fall in a category of the ransom. Instead of fasting, you guys pay the ransom for that. And I'm talking about those of you with schizophrenia, those of you that's bipolar. Because once you stop taking your medicine, that's going to put your body into a different imbalance. And you don't want to go through that. So March 9th, Dr. Ali is going to do a special lecture on that. So the 8th, put the 8th and the 9th down on your calendars. March 8th and March 9th down on your calendars for 2 special lectures. Then you figure it out, Muslima. Get somebody else to pay the ransom for you. You got a year. The ransom, and you got a whole year to pay the ransom of fasting, of not fasting. You got a whole year to figure it out. DoorDash. What's up with these Muslim women and men not door dashing? My granddaughter came over today. One of them. She door dashing. I said, what you doing over here? DoorDash. Goodbye. Make that money, honey. You Muslims better start door dashing. That's good money. Make your own money, your own hours. All you need is a car. Get a car and go DoorDash. Take your little brother with you. Take your little sister with you. Take your cousin with you. Take your mama with you. DoorDash. I'm getting ready to DoorDash too. Sure am. Just watch. Yeah. To me, you ain't got no money. Ain't no excuse for people to not have money with DoorDash and Instacart. Yeah. Okay, so mark the March 8th and 9th, put it down on your calendar, because inshallah, we're going to have 2 special lectures from Dr. Ali. But don't forget, Dr. Ali will be here tomorrow for his class too at 11. All right, guys, I'm going to close out. I'll be back on at 9 for the Ask Sister Layla live show. Make sure y'all are here with your questions about Islam. Let me put that little advertisement up. Where is it at? Ask Sister Layla. Where is it at?
Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Ask Sister Layla live call-in and answer show. Please join Ustada lailanasheeba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Oh. Catch the wave, Fresno. Now that was funny. Catch the wave. Ask Sister Layla. Okay, so I'll be back at 9 o'clock, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Subhanakala humu wa bihamdika. Ashadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.